These are the most brilliant tactic combinations I have ever seen, starting with queen c5. In this position, instead of taking the bishop on c7, we give a check to the king. Now white goes to h1, and we have a brilliant move, and that's knight to f2. Now if the king goes back to g1, we go knight to h3, giving a double check on the king, and if king h1, then queen g1, and the rook has to take, and afterwards knight to f2 checkmate. The king is trapped in the corner. Now if white takes on f2, black is not going to take back, but has queen to c1, giving a check on the first row, and there is no way that white can actually prevent this checkmate. Now this checkmate was very interesting, but the next ones will be even more crazy. In this position, white has to move, and there are a lot of interesting ideas, but the right idea here is now queen to f7, giving a check to the black king, king to h8, and now there's a very interesting move from white, and that is knight to e8. Now this looks kind of simple, but we sacrifice our knight to e8 in order to try to checkmate our opponent on g7. Now, of course, if opponent takes on e8, then we're just simply going to checkmate. But if black takes the bishop on h6, he prevents us from giving this checkmate on g7. So we have to be creative, take on f8 with our queen, we sacrifice it, but in the end we checkmate because the knight on e8 protects the square on g7, and black cannot escape through this square. Therefore knight e8, a very strong move, sacrificing itself, but on the other side making space for the queen on g7. If you thought these tactics were too easy, let's jump to the next one that will be much more difficult. Alright, white to move in this position. A queen is hanging. Should we take it? That's a good question. If we do, black is going to play queen to d7, attacking our king on f7. Now if we go to f6, then we are going to be checkmated. That's not a good idea. So that's really not something we should play. And if something like rook e7, well then black is going to take our bishop, and there's going to be a perpetual check. So nothing great that can follow after queen d7. And if we go with the king to f8, then queen to d8, and we can't make any progress. So queen takes h1 is not the winning move in this position. If you want to take your time to find the solution, please pause the video and think a little bit. Well, the right move in this position is queen to d1. What? That's a strange move. Now our white queen can be taken by both black queens. That's strange. Well, what happens if the queen on a4 takes on d1? Well, then we can checkmate our opponent because the queen is not defending the square on e8 anymore as she used to. If the other queen from h1 takes on d1, then h6 is not defended anymore, so we can checkmate on h6. Well, and if black is not going to take the queen at all, maybe something like queen to c6, white simply takes the queen on c6, and black can still not take the queen because of rook takes h6. And if something like queen to c6, you might say, oh, everything is fine so far. Then how you're wrong, because of queen to a1, and there is check over the long diagonal. Black's king cannot move, and only bishop e5, takes e5, queen to f6, and queen takes f6 is possible. So queen to c6 is not an idea for black, but maybe something like queen to h2. Well then, white can just take the queen on a4, and there's no threat of any perpetual or draw anymore, as it has been used to when we could take on h1. Because now, if black plays queen to h5, maybe something like bishop g6, queen to f3, rook f6, and now we're threatening to play a queen to e8, and black has no checks anymore, so this position is definitely winning. So what was the right move in this first position? It was queen sacrifice on d1. But afterwards we are guaranteed to win at least the queen back. If you have watched till this point of the video, please like and subscribe to not miss any future great combinations. Now the final position for today is really crazy. This game was played by Fedoseev against Salem, two very good grandmasters, both over 2600 ELO rank rated. And this is really an amazing combination. Black took the rook on b3, sacrificed his rook, and after takes b3, he used his new chances because now the a file is completely open, and rook a8, of course, trying to checkmate white from the first row. So the only option is to go back with the king to d1, and after rook a1, playing the bishop to c1. Now it gets very interesting. What is the right move for black? Well, our idea is to take on c1, king c1, and now play bishop f4. And after something like king d1, we can play c2. But wait a minute. After bishop f4, white can take with the knight on f4, and we lose our bishop and every idea. Well, then we should go back at one move, because in this position, the right move is sacrificing the queen on h5. Queen sacrifice after our rook sacrifice. That's crazy. And that was even the played move in this game between these two grandmasters. Queen takes h5. And now, rook sacrifice on c1. Black sacrificed two rooks and his queen. King takes c1. And now bishop f4. King d1 and c2, and now black tries to promote his pawn into a queen. King e1, new queen available. And now the king of white is so weak that after queen e3, he has to go to g2, and queen g3 is checkmate. The bishop secures f1, and the rooks prevent white from escaping. The queen is completely useless on h5, and the pieces of black play beautifully together. It's amazing tactic how it went. So just go back to appreciate the beauty of this combination. Rook takes b3, giving a threat on a1. Now sacrificing the queen on h5, followed by sacrifice of another rook and bishop f4, and we get a new queen and can checkmate the white on g3. Beautiful made by Salem. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and watch all my other videos about tactics, combinations, and beautiful games. Bye bye.